Welcome to week 5 of the Around the 412 Fantasy Football Show, where unlike Shador Sanders, we use our big boy words. I am your host, Joe Frick, and with me, as always, is the delightful, always styling, always knowing ball, the one, the only, Mr. Drew Hannes. Drew, how we doing today? I hate you. Get him out of here.
You started it, so I had to go with it.
Here's the thing. I've been having all of these issues with my computer and like lagging and stuff, and then you hit me with that like the first.
You started with the Shador, so I
know, but I was like super nervous that I kind of screwed something up, and I was like, oh man, like my computer's already bugging. This is not going to be good. But
yeah, I'm doing good. We just talked pre-show. I spent 4 hours painting right before the show, so my mind is elsewhere, but I'm ready to roll. Ready for week 5 after a tough loss. I'm in 7 leagues. Gonna make the playoffs in 6 to 7, I think. Fishbowl's an absolute disaster. But in half of those leagues, I have the highest points for and highest points against.
Man, people are hitting you with their best shots. So
it's wild.
That's something. So we'll see what we can do with it. I'm doing fairly well in Fishbowl. 8-0 right now.
Yeah,
Top 250. Shout out to everybody that told me at the draft, can't draft CMC. He's going to get hurt. He's putting it on everybody. He's the only healthy player left in San Francisco. Got Jonathan Taylor in the second round. Top 5 in Fishbowl points right now. I got Michael Pittman. He was my dog into the year. I said, Josh Downs, sit him down. Michael Pittman's the guy. He's a top 15 wide receiver right now. So, I mean, really my bigger misses have just been, all right, I guess Marv. And Marv has been 50-50.
It's Lad McConkey for me. He's ending me.
Yeah, Lad's been a surprise. And you know what? He's not playing poorly. It's just that QJ's figured it out. Year 3. Keenan Allen is a touchdown machine. There's just not enough ball to go around, I guess. But
I also lost 3 guys to injury, and they're just
like that sometimes.
They're not full seasons either, so I gotta keep them on my roster and just wait for them to get back. But
yeah.
This is what it is. This is going to be a playoff year for the first time.
Before you jump into the injury updates, another big week on the injury front. We just got a little bit of sportsmanship here from a boy Ricky Dunks. Says, congrats on the W. Good matchup last week. GG's. We love to see it. Hope all is well with you guys. Hope all is well with you too, Ricky. Ricky had hit me up about some quarterback questions this morning. And then 10 minutes later, Brock Purdy got announced out, and he was one of the 2 options in every one of the decisions. So it was well, okay, that's fine.
Against Ricky last week, I actually I started Romeo Dobbs, which he never stiffed my lineup at all. So
what a week for that.
He was on the OnlyFantasy radar. It's just that it's really difficult to pick Packers wide receiver, and I just happened to luck that out. That's the reason why I won, because I lost Neighbors against him and got a 4 spot. Yeah. And he has Amari and Hampton, and he put up 46 or something on me, something crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
All right, then. So hit us with these injury updates. Keep us coming.
Yeah, there's a ton to go over. It's rough. We could start off right with Malik Neighbors since I just brought him up. He tore his ACL. It's actually weird because everybody was like, oh, you could see it right away. I did not see it right away. I watched that replay. Yeah, I watched that replay multiple times, and I just never saw the knee buckle. It was just the weirdest thing for me. But I think for me, because my mind was just he jumped, and I didn't see him having the ability to actually leap off the ground if he tore his ACL. But it's just one of those things that happened before. I'm not really into this wide receiver core with him out. Obviously you can go after Wan'Dale Robinson, but he just has a high floor but low ceiling because he's not going to score a lot of touchdowns. Most of his catches are around the line of scrimmage, so he might give you 8 for 40, but he just doesn't have a big ceiling. Slayton's been playing a ton. His snap counts were basically right up there with Neighbors, so he might be a guy that you might want to pick up, and you never know, there's going to be a shot. But I don't see Jackson Dart really supporting a wide receiver not named Malik Neighbors in that offense. So it's just one of those things that if you had a Malik Neighbors, and hopefully you have other options outside of the Giants wide receiver group. Ricky Pearsall, he's been nursing a knee injury the last few weeks. It seems like he had a setback. Same with Juwan Jennings. They're both going to miss likely this week. I think, was Pearsall also marked out? I know Jennings was.
Jennings and Pearsall are out for this week. They don't have Purdy. I don't know how, but Christian McCaffrey is basically sucking the health out of every player on that team. And now in the entire NFC West, because there's other teams in that division that are also all kinds of banged up.
Yeah.
But somehow the guy labeled as the most injury prone out of the bunch is getting more touches than he's ever had in his career. He might touch the ball 70 times on Sunday or on Thursday. Actually, they're playing.
I think I read a stat that he's a top 15 player in fantasy, even if he had 0 carries this year, which
he's
is
a top
absolutely
15. He's a top 10 player in both wide receiver and running back. Independently.
But like 0 carries.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. If you have 0 carries and just look at him as a wide receiver, then he's top 10. If you take away all of his receptions and only look at his rushing, he's a top 10 running back.
It's wild. But yeah, hopefully that continues. We also are likely to not have Bucky Irving this week. He has a foot sprain. There's not a lot of, out there about what type of injury it is. Hopefully it's not like a Liz Frank sprain or anything like that. But he's on crutches. They just called him day to day, but it doesn't seem like he's going to play this week. So, I mean, I picked up Rachaad White yesterday on waivers knowing that he was probably going to miss. It's just weird, like him and Trey Benson, these teams are just being so cryptic with these guys. Like Calvin Austin too, like we know nothing about Calvin Austin's shoulder injury. It drives me nuts as a fan. Like I want to know if Calvin's all right. You know what I mean? They obviously know, but because they don't need to report anything yet, they're just going to keep it to themselves, which just sucks. It's not even just from a fantasy thing. But again, Trey Benson, the same thing. We don't know much about his knee injury. It's probably an MCL or a PCL sprain. For him, I'm expecting him back November 9th because they have a bye in between there. So he'll actually miss 5 weeks after being placed on IR because their bye is like 3 weeks away. So he automatically just gets pushed back to the 5th week. We also have Braylon Allen with a sprain, likely a sprained MCL as well. They didn't really say much about his knee injury either. He's going to be an IR candidate in my opinion as well, and I expect him to be back around November 9th as well. Same situation as Trey Benson. And then the last real big one, Lamar, hamstring injury. Reported time is 2 to 3 weeks. Most on average, there's not a lot of quarterbacks of his pedigree and his play style that were in my data sheets. So like I kind of went off of like running back data. Typically miss 2 to 4 weeks. They have their bye week in week 7 again. So it's another situation where that's going to push it. I'm expecting him back probably in late October, early November. This is crazy.
Do you think that they'll change that depending on if Cooper Rush is able to win them some games? Like I feel like given their record, they can't really afford to keep dropping games.
Yeah, I'm more worried that they're going to rush him back, which is going to be a bigger issue because if they lose this week, they have the Rams next week. That's a tough game even if Lamar plays. Like
right. And that pass rush is so good. It's like that screams like a game that if I have a hamstring injury, I'm going to make it worse.
Both of these games too, like the Texans like have a very good defense as well. Like it's rough. Like
absolutely.
They're in the worst shape they could possibly be at 1-3 with these two teams coming up. It's crazy. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to play this week for sure. I don't think he's going to play next week either. If they rush him back, it could be a thing moving forward rest of season, which is just not what we want to see from a fantasy football perspective because he's one of the top quarterbacks, obviously.
Right. All right, man. Well, let's transition a little bit away from that. Talk about some other things outside of the realm of injury. So the big headline for the week, Joey Flack the Dawn, the day is done in Cleveland. We add another quarterback to the famed jersey. Dylan Gabriel going to be starting this week against the Minnesota Vikings. Drew, before we get into some commentary on that, let's hit a couple questions in the chat. Chat, let us know how you're feeling about Dylan Gabriel. Shador did not have a lot to say, but somehow managed to also say a lot. So curious to hear what y'all have to say about it. But let's start with our boy Chad. Always in the chat. Always good to see you, Chad. So rank these bye-week flyers. Nick Westbrook-Akine, Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Hyatt, Helm, Mitchell, and Evana. I don't even know who Evana is. Man, this is nasty work right here. If I had to pick, I think Bourne is the person I'd be most interested in. Mac Jones backup, Bourne's the backup. They have no one else to throw it to. They're down to backup tight ends. They have to throw it to somebody else other than CMC. So Bourne is my number one.
My number one is Nick Westbrook-Ikine.
You think he's going to get more run than Malik Washington? Because I think Washington's the guy that slides in.
I think Malik Washington is the guy that everybody thinks it's going to be, but his play style is kind of like manufactured touches. He's not like a natural route runner. Like Nick Westbrook-Ikine showed last year that he is capable of doing some things, and I think that he's going to be the one that you're actually going to want in Miami. I could be way off because, like, honestly, there's probably a better chance that none of them are valuable, but like I like the fact that we've seen it from him before, and he's not the type of guy that's just like we just have to.
He did have that stretch of games last year that it was like, wow, like he scored like 5 or 6 games in a row or something crazy like that. I think the hard part about it for me is that if you look at what they're going to be trying to replace, did they use Waddle in the way that they use Hill, or did they try to replace Hill directly? And that's like a very big question mark that we're going to see. It seems like it would make more sense. Like, you can't replace Tyreek, so just like shift the offense a bit. But I don't know. I think Bourne for me is a natural one. Gunnar Helm, Tennessee is just awful right now, so I don't see how he's like on the radar. Hyatt, I think Darius Slayton is the guy that's going to come in and be more useful for the Giants. So I think that Hyatt is pretty low.
Hyatt's snap count rose a ton after Neighbors got hurt. I just don't think that he's the guy that you want. He's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
My reason I give Westbrook-Ikine over Bourne too is that they play on Thursday night. The Niners do, and I'm just Thursday night games kind of stink. It's like I want Puka, CMC, like the stars, and just kind of like not much else in that game.
The only thing that I will say is that the matchup is not great. Carolina only giving up 21.9 points per game in the last 3 weeks. Not really playing world beaters at the position, though. New England, Atlanta, Arizona. So obviously some big, like, singular names, but overall not like scary passing attacks, to say the least.
Yeah.
For San Francisco, the Rams are giving up 38.8 points per game versus Indy, Philly, and Tennessee. And I'm assuming that's Keaton Mitchell. I don't think that he's somebody that's on my radar.
He wrote in the chat it's Mitchell Evans.
Oh, Mitchell Evans. Okay. Interesting.
Keaton Mitchell has been active like the whole season. Healthy.
Yeah, I would say for me, it sounds like 1 and 2 for the two of us. Order's different, but Bourne and Nick Westbrook-Ikine. I would say probably Hyatt 3. I would rather just not play anyone than have to put the last 2 in my lineup. So do what you want with that. He also won in a slugfest in Dynasty. Was forced to play Hill as my running back 2 and Dobbs as my flex. Yeah, I mean, Hill was the number 4 running back. Great garbage time. He's one of my favorite best ball players because like 3 or 4 times a year, he'll just come out of nowhere and drop like 40.
I added him in a bunch of leagues, and I actually view him as a flex option while Lamar's out because I think
especially he's a game script dependent player. If they're going to be behind, he's a very good 2-minute get the ball up the field. Let's do something with it. Like he fits that role. I think the misconception that people have about him is that if Derrick Henry were to go down, he doesn't become Derrick Henry. Like he has his role on the team and it doesn't really change all that much, but he does have some standalone value, especially in these situations where they're no longer going to be fader. I completely agree with that. So here's one for you, Drew. Do I trade Pickens for Judkins? I have Saquon, Mason, Kendrick. What did I say, Kendrick? Kenneth Walker III, Chase Brown, Nico Pickens, Pearsall Sutton, and JMO. This is interesting because Pickens looked top 5 wide receiver. Everything that you kind of hoped he would be in Pittsburgh came to fruition last week. I'm always concerned about the mental side of it for him and what happens when he returns to form. Judkins seems to be matchup proof. That dude is a beast. I'm sure that you were stirring cement after you saw this another great performance by him, despite being in such a bad offense. And we'll transition back to that question about Dylan Gabriel since it's coming up here again. But what do you think, Drew? Would you take that trade?
You know, I'm a big Judkins guy, but I don't think you could trade Pickens based on the receivers that he has. I mean, Pearsall's hurt. Bo Nix has really been spreading it around. Like Sutton's like the one, but like it's really not like a high volume one because like Bo's just throwing it around. Like he hit 9 different receivers on Monday night. Like it's just not like you can't guarantee his volume. J-Mo's the same way too. Like there's just so many mouse to feeds in that offense. Like he just doesn't have a consistent volume either. And Nico's been very questionable. Like I don't think that you're in a position to move a wide receiver based on what you have there.
I would rather. Yeah, I mean, if they're needing a receiver, I'm trying to think of how else you could do this. I do feel that they're equal value to each other. Like, I feel like they're one and the same in terms of like player value. It's just as far as the roster does.
It's roster construction for me.
Right. So I think the trade is fair, but given the receiver situation that you have right now, I don't think you can make the move. If it's PPR, I also hesitate to kind of trade away somebody that's going to be a top target getter for at least a few weeks. If Pickens has another game, you could trade Pickens plus and like or get Judkins plus something back.
And when CD comes back, I don't think that kills Pickens. It's just that like he's not going to have the crazy boom.
For me, I would try to package like Jordan Mason and Jameson Williams to get Judkins back. If it was me. So I don't know. We'll see. But before we continue with the comments, so let's talk about this Dylan Gabriel thing a bit. So Joe Flacco been pretty brutal first 4 weeks. They're dead last pretty much in everything except for the Titans. The Titans are, as Cam Ward would say, ass. Straight ass, right? But Flacco not looking too good. Amongst 33 qualifying QBs, he is last in completion rate at 58%, yards per attempt 5.1, passer rating 60.3. Browns are averaging 14 points per game. I don't think it can get much worse, but do you have any optimism for some of those pass catchers, maybe a Jerry Jeudy now that Tillman's out? We saw Fannin and Njoku be pretty involved week 1, but they've kind of quieted down the last couple of weeks. Do you think this could improve their situation at all, or do you think it's just going to be more of the same?
Honestly, like they literally can't go anywhere but up. They can't go anywhere up. Jerry Jeudy's wide receiver 55 on the season. I mean, I talked before week 1. I didn't really get the Jerry Jeudy love where he was going. It just didn't make sense to me. So I'll take a little bit of flowers here, but I didn't think it would be this bad. I did not think it would be this bad. That's insane. Like they cannot go anywhere but up. None of these guys are startable till you see it. And to be honest, I'm shocked that they're putting him in yet because, like, in London against Minnesota and then the Steelers coming off a bye.
Man, these coaches, it reeks of desperation right now. We talked about the schedule that Jackson Dart's going up against. He looked good against the Chargers last week. I'll give him that. But Dylan Gabriel not getting a whole lot of love either. I mean, just in terms of the matchup, Brian Flores is going to have him in a blender.
It's going to be brutal, honestly. Like,
yeah. And that's even without Van Ginkel. So it's just like they're still going to throw the ringer at him. Very worried about it. But yeah, I agree. I don't think it can get any worse. Do you think that we'll see Silent Shador any point in this season? I've heard some people say Thanksgiving. Is that you said that?
He'll play at some point. I didn't say that. I don't really know. I'm looking at their schedule now, actually. Like, maybe after the bye, they have the Jets. I don't know. I think that they don't want to go to Shador. I don't believe a lot of the crap that people are saying on X, but like they drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd. Like they that's a pretty significant pick that they took Gabriel at. I feel like they need to play him as long as possible, but there's going to get to a point where the crowd's just going to get Shador on the field.
Yeah, that is going to be the toughest part about it is that I think you need to give the kid a fair shake. And if you're going to pivot away from him, you're basically saying that you have no chance of succeeding in this league. If there's any thought, idea. No, I'm talking about Gabriel. Right? So it's like if you think that there's any chance that he could be that guy, you need to give him that run and really figure it out. But like you said, now that they're not going to put Flacco back in. Flacco's done. So they're not going to trade for another guy. Watson's not coming back this season. So it's either one of those two.
You're not starting any of these guys outside of Judkins, right? Like, I feel like it's pretty clear, but like, I don't think Fannin and Njoku are startable either because they're cannibalizing each other.
Yeah, but they play a lot of 12, so they just run 2 tight end formations. I'm curious to see who becomes Gabriel's target. Right? It could be Judy. I have some interest, but like this week in particular, no, I'm not playing anybody but Judkins.
I don't think I'm playing any of them. Period. Like, I just don't see a world where any of those guys are a starter rest of season. I feel that strongly about it.
All right. Yeah, I hear you, man. All right. So, any concern about Brock Bowers and this knee injury worsening?
Do we even know what it is yet? Did they ever report what it is? Like,
no, we know that he's been on the injury report, but they haven't really gotten any specifics on what it could be.
So that's the thing. Like, it's hard to say because, like, I don't even know what it is. Like, if it's a PCL and he takes a really, like, he hits the ground really hard, right, like, knee straight down, like, obviously that could get worse. I mean, MCL, if he takes an awkward hit, everything could get worse. But, like, I'm not really worried. Like, I don't sit here and think of a player like I'm worried he's going to get hurt because, like, that's just how football is. Like, anyone can get hurt at any time. But it's really weird to me that, like, we don't know what it is. He's not practicing. He's not really been that effective on the field. I don't know why they're playing him and not just letting him get healthy.
I think that would have been the prudent thing to do at the start of the season when you knew he was banged up. Take the couple weeks, get healthy. They're trying to play him through it. I mean, at this point, I don't see a world where he's going to return the capital that you probably paid for him. A lot of people taking him second round. So you take it with a grain of salt. But even though he hasn't been the dominant player that he has been, he's still been a startable tight end. So do I have concerns that my team isn't going to be as good because he's not returning to the levels that he's been from last year? Sure. Am I going to put him in the bench or do something like that? Probably not. If you can sell high, I like that a lot. But otherwise, you're probably just going to ride with it. All right, so we got a question from AJ. Who wins this trade? Saquon Barkley for Derrick Henry and DK Metcalf. Any thoughts?
That's a good one. I like this. I think it's closer than what it appears.
I think it's a fair trade.
Yeah.
Which you would have never said going into the season. I think you would have said that the Derrick Henry side would
smash.
Heavily. Yeah. Yeah. But I do think that it's fair. I think it just depends on what you need. Saquon has obviously had a slow start to the year. So has Derrick Henry, though. I think that they both have the capability of bouncing back.
I think I just take the Derrick Henry and DK because you're getting 2 starters. I think Derrick Henry and Barkley are a wash right now.
Would you feel the same way if DK didn't have that 80-yard touchdown last week? Because here's my concern with the Steelers offense. They are not pushing the ball.
Yeah,
so it's like you're relying on DK to get the big play. Most of the games, he's been able to break these shorter passes off for one. So that's
what he is.
It is.
The thing for me is, like, I think that Barkley and Henry are a wash. So you might as well just take DK, right?
Yeah.
I
wouldn't say that they're a wash per se. I still value Barkley substantially higher than Henry. But yeah, I think I would take the trade. I think it's a slight edge to the Henry DK side, but that's banking on a Henry bounce back. So we'll see what we got. So we got another Derrick Henry all over the trade boards. This is gonna be fun for our Tinders. B Raleigh 619. I don't want to read this out loud. Oh boy. So we traded Puka Nacua, Amarian Hampton for Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, non-PPR. Did you lose horribly? Well, you didn't win. Even without the PPR, I mean, Puka's getting so many targets, so much yardage. He's basically a guarantee for a touchdown every week. Amari and Hampton, now with Najee out for the year, he's also dominating touches. I would take, even in a non-PPR format, the wide receiver one and somebody that's going to be a top 12 running back who's outperforming both of these guys right now by a pretty substantial amount. It could bounce back in your favor. We've seen these guys do it before. Barkley's nowhere near the age cliff. Henry, I don't think, is at age cliff territory yet. But I think you should have gotten more than what you got. Drew, anything to add?
I'm hoping that this deal was made before Omari and Hampton's like really big breakout game. You know what I mean? Because like if you made that deal after last Sunday, I don't know what you were thinking. I'm trying to be nice in this scenario, but like, I mean, I don't think I would trade Nakua for both of those guys because like he's on a Cooper Kupp type of like generational type of season right now.
That's what happens when you watch LeBron James highlights before every game. Apparently that's his thing. All right, let's keep it rolling. So I'm not sure if I understand this question. So I guess we got to drop one of the three: Ollie Gordon, DeMarcado, or I'm guessing Michael Carter.
I'm actually like really interested to know what the chat thinks about who's going to be the guy for the Cardinals on Sunday. I added both of them because I don't know.
I think Carter plays the number 2 role. I think DeMarcado is going to be the player from the fantasy aspect just because of the pass catching ability. I do think he's going to get the first run, but I don't think that he's going to be like this bell cow back. I do think it's going to be somewhat of the committee. Chat, if you think otherwise, let us know.
I got one of them.
Yeah, Chad said that he thinks that there could be some rushing upside with Van Ginkel being out. I could totally see it, but there's no scenario that I'm playing him this week. I don't see it ranking him outside of like 30, 31, or 32 this week.
I might rank him with backups ahead of him.
That's brutal. So, how do you feel about this trade here? Romeo Doubs headed to his bye for Isaiah Bond in Dynasty.
I wouldn't trade Romeo Doubs at all. Like I think that Romeo Doubs, we're going to be sitting here in May of next year, and Romeo Doubs is going to get some like Christian Kirk type of contract, and people are going to be like, "What the hell?" Because he's going to be a really good.
He's a solid real life player. It's just that
it's just the team he's on. So for Dynasty, I think that Romeo Doubs is a clear hold.
And Isaiah Bond, I mean, people were saying that he was gonna be a second, third round pick. I don't think that as soon as he ran that 40, that wasn't like anywhere close to the record. His thing was supposed to be speed, and he wasn't even the fastest guy on his team.
Yeah, he fell off really hard.
So yeah, he had the case which too. If he would have broke the record and had the whole like court thing, he would have still got drafted. But when you're small, you're not as fast as you think, and you have like court stuff, there's no reason. So I wouldn't trade Dobbs for Isaiah Bond either.
He also plays for the Browns, who have no vision in sight. So I just don't. Judkins is the only Brown that you want.
Yeah, I mean, Dynasty kind of changes things a little bit, but I do like Dobbs better because he's not going to be in Green Bay forever, especially because they've already signed up Watson for another year. Golden's not going to be going anywhere. Wicks is kind of like that analytic guy. You have Kraft there, so he's just going to realistically be the odd man out. If they weren't gunning for the Super Bowl, I think they would have traded him.
Right. Agreed.
All right. So Hernley said that he's looking to see what it looks like now that Tillman's out, but I don't. You're relying on a third-round quarterback that nobody really seemed to have wanted.
There's no Brown startable. I don't see it. Like Fannin and Njoku, you have to guess right on which game they're scoring. That's really what it is. And if you put them in your line, you might as well bet them anytime TD.
Yeah. Henry for Kamara. How do you?
There's a lot of people who want out of the Derrick Henry. There's a lot of people that want out of the Derrick Henry business, which is wild. I would still take Henry.
I think Kamara's not going to be this season. It's going to be a trade. If he gets traded, then his stuff's going to go up. He's not getting the targets that we saw. It's the first game last week that we saw him have more than a 10% target share, which is promising.
Is he your only fantasy? Huh? Is he your only fantasy? I forget.
Yeah, he was.
I forget who your only fantasy is. Yeah.
It was Kamara. I expected them to utilize him a lot more.
I'm surprised by it too.
Yeah, so we'll see. If he gets traded, I think he can blow up. I think he's going to provide RB2 kind of like value, but I don't think that he's going to crack the top 15 at the way that they're utilizing him. if you think he's going to get traded, I think it's fine, but I would still rather have Henry at this juncture.
I think he might get traded to a committee. That's the thing, unless there's an injury.
Depending on who it is, I mean, it could be fine. Also want to acknowledge Tyler's comment in the chat. He also messaged us on X earlier, so I think there's a question there in case he didn't make the show. But good to see you, man. Glad you could be here. He traded Waddle and Boz for JMO and Bates to make sure I had a bye week kicker. The guy who had Bates is 0-4 and every week drops his kicker to pick up backups to see who hits. That is interesting. I didn't realize that people
pre-Tyreek or
I don't know. That's an interesting one. But he's also a big JMO guy. Like he loves JMO.
Did I forget to mention Tyreek Hill's injury too? It's on my list.
Yeah.
But I went out of order. Obviously that was brutal and
his whole leg was a question mark. That was insane.
That was literally the first thing I said when I was sitting next to Zayna, and I was like, the dude's leg looks like a question mark right now.
Yeah. It's crazy. All right, one last one since we were just talking about the Alvin Kamara thing. Kendre Miller kind of had a big game last week. He's seeing some more touches in New Orleans. I think it's a sell high. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think he does have a role on this team. He's not going to have the Allen doghouse anymore, so we could do something with it. But, I mean, that offense, it's going to be tough for him to be fantasy relevant. Anyway.
I just don't trust it'll stay healthy because the dude's been hurt every single year. You don't want to predict injuries. Like, I'd never want to think like that, but there's data support. He's had a hamstring injury literally every season he's been in the league. Like, it's
I feel that. All right, so let's jump into Fantasy Football Tinder for those of you that are watching the show, maybe for the first time. Maybe you aren't really on the apps or about that life. Neither are Drew and I because, we're all married and stuff. But we do like to swipe on our Wednesday evening. So the way that this works, just to give you an example, here's our boy Zach. Steelers held it down last week in Ireland. Pittsburgh is now basically the new home for everything Irish. So people want to know, is Zach the next U.S. ambassador to Ireland? So next election, we'll see if he gets the nomination. For everybody that knows how important he is to the city of Pittsburgh and to pretty much the universe, easy swipe right. So you'll see that with the green hearts on the screen and the smiles on our faces. For all the haters out there and for people that don't really understand why you would need an ambassador to a country when you could just kind of like send them a text or whatever, might swipe left. They're going to hit him with the red X and say, hey, now we got someone else in mind for that role. So, Drew, we will get to Derrick Henry. He was one of our Tinders tonight, but let's start with a little bit more positive flair here, all right? So we're seeing a bit of a change of the guard in Houston. So a lot of murkiness in the offseason. They had Joe Mixon. He had this mysterious injury ailment. We're not sure if he's going to be on the field at any point this season. They bring in Nick Chubb. There's kind of this like feeling about like a revenge kind of comeback player of the year. And now they also got Woody Marks, 4th round pick. They also traded up and using a 3rd round pick to get him. The question I have for you, Drew, if you would if you could, are you feeling Woody Marks? Do you think that he's somebody that you can insert safely into your lineups after last week's breakout? Before you answer, we polled the nation. 100% of voters said would.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous that this could have just been like a 1 week thing, but everything suggests that it's not. I mean, there's been a steady progression. It's basically been a linear progression right up from week 1 to week 4, where his snap counts have been rising. He started at 11%. He's up to 58 now. They're a 1-3 team, right? And they won last week because of the difference that he made on the field. Like, they were a completely different offense when Woody was on the field. He offers a completely different dimension in the passing game that Nick Chubb does not offer you. Like, Woody Marks holds the receptions record at Mississippi State that he broke his freshman year, like, as a running back. Like, that's crazy. You already mentioned there's still no timetable for Joe Mixon's return. We're going to see how this goes long term. I love him this week against the Ravens because, like, they haven't been able to stop anybody. I'm hoping that it's not a flash in the pan, but everything suggests to me that they're a better offense when he's on the field, and he should be an easy swipe right. He should be in lineups this week, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah, I randomly had to play him against Tyler last week because I have mostly rookie running backs, and it was awesome. So I'm also swiping right. To your point, he is seeing an increase pretty much by 10-15% every week in snap counts. He had career highs last week, 17 carries, 21 overall touches, career high 41 offensive snaps, 50 receiving yards, 50 receiving yards, 69 rushing yards. Nice. And then he had the 2 touchdowns. So that to me is huge. Nick Chubb, for the way that they were talking him just going into the season, was always weird. They're just like, oh, well, he's old and he tries hard. And like,
yeah, like D'Amico Ryans was like bashing starting running back. It was the weirdest thing.
It was very odd. And I think the other thing, we talk about this all the time, is that if you're going to be a rookie running back and you're going to want to see the field, your pass blocking has to be on point, especially in Houston, where it is single ply back there. And if you saw some of the blitz pickups that Woody Marks had last week, like, they were erotic. Like, they were awesome. So I think that in a PPR format, really any format, you're going to be starting him this week. I do think that he'll have relevance moving forward. Can he crack the top 12? It's going to be tough to do, but he does have that rushing prowess. And I really liked, after he transferred to USC, his ability to kind of carry the team and put the team on the back. Like, he was pretty much their entire offense last year. So excited to see where he can go. Excited to have him on some teams. I actually picked him up last week, just knowing that the snap counts were about even in week 3, and you can see the changing of the guard happening before our eyes.
Let me ask you a question before we move on to the next one. Is he a sell high in Dynasty? Because, like, a lot of people have this mindset that you don't really like to keep mid to late round running backs. You like to sell high on them. Like, Dameon Pierce was an obvious sell high. Like, situations like that. Do you think that he's a sell high?
I think the hard part for me is they traded up for him. It's an elite running back class. In 4th round, I feel like pretty good about it. So I would let it ride. If I go out of contention and I can start getting some like 2027 firsts or something like that, then I would probably be tempted to sell just at the opportunity for the guys in 27. Anything in 26, I don't really care about. But yeah, there is a world where I would sell high on him. I don't think he's going to be the bell cow back of the future. I think redraft, like, this is like a Tyrone Tracy on steroid situation to me. I don't think that they're going to go in next year and replace Woody Marks. You also are going to have Joe Mixon coming back for whatever that is worth. So then you kind of have the split backfield there.
I don't think Joe Mixon comes back.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to look at his contract and see what that looks like.
I have no idea. I don't envision Woody Marks being a sell high in this situation. That's the reason why I bring it up, because I think that the next few drafts, their focus is going to be on.
It has to be the offensive line. It has to be.
Yeah, so like they're not drafting a running back.
Yeah. So Tyler's question, I just pulled it up on X. So he needs 1 running back, 1 flex. He has Marks, Scattaboo, Kamara, and QJ. I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud and on air. Kamara is the easy sit for me out of the 3, which is absolutely bonkers to say.
I was going to say the same thing.
QJ has the Commanders 38.9 points per game in fantasy, and QJ's been nails as far as opportunity. I can't sit him right now, which, again, things I never thought that I would be saying. Like, Scatabo and QJ may have been like my biggest haters. Like, my biggest haterade takes was like, neither one of them is worth a lick. And here we are. Do you want to answer that? Do you have a between Mark Scatabo? Which way are you leaning?
It's tough for me to say without spoiling stuff in the future, but
you could just say the answer. You don't have, you can always explain later.
I'm gonna pick Woody Marks because of the matchup.
I would take Marks and QJ as well.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, so let's transition to Tinder 2. Highlight of the night, obviously. It's a big topic just because everybody's very shocked about what's unfolding right now. But Derrick Henry, not really living up to the hype right now for what people were expecting out of him. Some people are saying, hey, Father Time's finally caught up. Some people were just saying, hey, like the Ravens are just kind of in a weird spot right now. Drew, my question for you is anything still possible? 76% of America says yes. Anything is possible. What says you?
I swipe right, but I don't have anything good to say about Derrick Henry. Like, we were texting the last 2 days about this Tinder, and I could not come up with any reason to swipe right on this man besides the fact that it's Derrick Henry. Everything about him is bad to me right now, and I wanted so bad to swipe left, and it could just be a soft move. But I just think that Derrick Henry's going to figure it out rest of the season. I don't know if he's startable for me right now, honestly. It just depends on what your options are. Shout out to the guys at Fantasy Focus, but they did a name game today, and they were just like, you have Javonte Williams or Derrick Henry. You have to pick one. It's Javonte Williams. It's not even a thought process. I think I would start Woody Marks over him. I think I would start – I know this is crazy, but, like, we discussed this. His snap share has gone down significantly over the last few weeks. Justice Hill has been out snapping him. And they weren't playing from behind most of the time. I was looking at these games. Like, they were in these ball games until, like, the third or fourth quarter. And he was still not playing enough. 21 snaps last week against the Chiefs makes no sense to me. Like, they weren't –
yeah. It was weird. I feel like there's a lot of things going on. I'm also swiping right, and we can kind of go back and forth on this one a little bit. So there's a lot of problems in Baltimore right now, right? So you have Lamar out, which I think is good for Henry. People are saying
I think the opposite.
People are saying that, oh, it's going to be stacked boxes, this and that. But the offense is going to have to revolve through him. So from an opportunity perspective, it's going to have to go through Henry. You're not going to force it into
Justice Hill.
I don't think so. I
think that Justice Hill is going to be getting a bunch of dump offs because I think they're going to be playing from behind because they can't stop anybody on defense.
Well, that is a major problem, and that's what I was going to bring up too. Is that because the defense is struggling so much, then they have to score. You would think what's weird to me about that is if you know that your defense is struggling, wouldn't it be better to bleed the clock, score?
Sure.
Take your time. Like, I don't understand how he's been getting as little carries as he has. I'm not worried about the number of carries that he has. He's averaging almost 6 yards a carry when he's getting the ball. So why are they not giving him the ball? I don't know. The one stat that scares me is that his yards before contact is down by a whole yard this year. That concerns me more than anything because Henry's game is getting up to full speed. You can't stop me. If he can't get up to full speed, then it's a lot harder for him to do his Superman stuff. But if you look at his explosive run rate, he's at 10% right now. Last year, he was at 7.5, 7.7, something like that. He's getting 80% of the inside the 5 carries, and without Lamar, he's going to get them all. So
I think that all of these stats are out the window because Lamar's not on the field. I think it's a complete sellout to stop Derrick Henry because Cooper Rush isn't going to do anything. The Cooper Rush was able to do a little bit because he had CeeDee Lamb. They don't have an impact receiver that's CeeDee Lamb. Zay Flowers is a solid guy, but they don't have a star. And I think that you sell out for Derrick Henry, and Cooper Rush is not going to do enough. And I think they're going to play from behind, and it's just going to be all Justice Hill dump offs. I think that Justice Hill has RB2 potential because of the way they're going to have to play.
Maybe. This is a total vibes comment, and I will totally own this as a vibes comment. I'm of the belief that the Ravens try to keep Henry fresh so that they can lean on him more heavily in the playoffs when they need him. Because when the defense is tightening up, but that's what I'm saying. So now they're 1-3. Lamar's hurt. You have to have it has to run through Henry. So it may not be pretty, but he's gonna get the volume. He's gonna do that. I'm with you. I think he's a high-end RB2 at this point because of the offense. But Cooper Rush, I mean, he was fine in the offense. I think I have enough. Yeah, but CeeDee Lamb was hurt for most of last year.
Yeah, but like they were terrible then. Like Cooper Rush wasn't good without CeeDee Lamb.
He was fine. I think that as far as backup goes, he's one of the better ones in the league. And I think that he can do enough to keep defenses honest. But they're going to want to control clock. They're going to have to get some wins in here because that's the only way that they can protect Lamar from himself. So I'm going to swipe right. I don't feel great about it, but I do think he's still a high-end RB2.
I'm swiping right just because it's him. But I think if you have other options, he definitely is in the question about not being started right now.
Yeah.
And it's because I get what you're saying. They want to give him the ball, but I don't think that he's going to be as effective because I think that there's going to be insane stack boxes. Like they're just going to be like, we need to just stop Derrick Henry and let Cooper Rush beat us. And when you have the Texans defense this week, they can stack the crap out of the box and then they can trust their corners to play in single coverage and take care of those receivers that they have. Like there's no reason to think that Zay Flowers is going to do anything with Derek Stingley with Cooper Rush. I think that they can just completely zone in on Derrick Henry. I think he's going to be tough. And I think the same thing could happen when they play the Rams. I think that this is a big deal for Derrick Henry that Lamar's not playing.
Yeah. No,
we'll see, though. But I'm swiping right because it's Derrick Henry, and I think that he'll figure it out. Like,
here's the thing. I don't see it as Derrick Henry is washed. He can't do it anymore.
Exactly. I don't see that either.
Right. Yeah.
It's the situation. 100% the situation. I would try to buy low because I think that he figures it out by like week 10, and you're going to be sitting there with a Derrick Henry that you got for cheap going into the playoffs. Like that's what you need to do. But like you shouldn't.
I think if you are going to buy low, I think that you don't do it like right now. I would give it another week.
I would wait 2 weeks probably, right? Like
yeah, but if you wait until they have the good matchup, people aren't going to trade.
Or you wait till those teams lost and they're desperate.
But I think by next week, you're 5 weeks into fantasy, people are going to get pretty desperate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's fair, right? You look at it week to week, but like it's definitely not going to – it doesn't feel good about this week for him. Like I think that he potentially could be – what is he right now? Like running back 19 or something? And he had a huge RB1 week 1. Like he's probably – oh, wait, I have it here. He's RB 43 if you take away week 1.
Yeah, but like you can't do that.
But you can because the big thing we're missing out here is the fact that he has a fumbling issue. And I think that's part of the reason why he's been bad the last 3 weeks. I think he has the yips too. He fumbled late in that first game after he had already put up all of his points. And he's been a completely different player since that game.
I think he's fine. But let's transition. I think the buy low thing is a good call there. So let's transition to our last segment of the night. Our only fantasy subscriptions for the week. So basically how this works is every week Drew and I will pick one player and one player only, and we will ride them to stardom via the only fantasy subscription. And hopefully you tail it because Drew is pretty good at this thing. I am not. But before we look at our picks for this week, let's just reminisce on what we did this past week. Drew crushed it. Jordan Love, QB5 on the week, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 carries for 28 yards. According to your sources, some people will say QB5, some people will say QB6, but really it's QB5 on the week. We figured out that there might be a bug on Fantasy Pros, but we'll see what we got. Great pick there. I had him in my top 6 rankings-wise, so I felt pretty good about that one as well. J.K. Dobbins, I liked my process. He did everything that I thought he was going to do except for score. Yeah, 16 carries, 101 yards, 1 reception, 4 yards on 1 target, RB 28. The painful part about it is that R.J. Harvey ends up being RB 12 on the week. So it's just like funny how that all works out. But, my process is getting better. Nobody got hurt. Like, that was a great sign. So we'll see what we can do this week. So, Drew, who are you looking at? Who are you subscribing to? Who is that one guy that you are pumped about for week 5?
My week 5 only fantasy is Cam Scattaboo.
Ooh.
I have a Cam Scattaboner this week, you could say.
Whoa, wait a minute.
I'm not living up for him.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. He had 25 carries last week. He completely owns this backfield. I expect Tyrone Tracy to be out again. The main reason why I'm really in on Cam Scattaboo this week, outside of the matchup, they play the Saints. great matchup, giving up 25.4 fantasy points per game to running backs over the last 3 weeks. The big thing for me is I think Jackson Dart looked good last week. I think he looks solid. But the biggest takeaway that everyone should be talking about, and I think most people are, but if you're missing this somehow, whatever, the dude got hit way too much last week. Like, way too much. He got sacked 6 times. He got hit on 7 out of his 10 carries. Like, he didn't slide. He was, like, lowering his shoulder. Like, he thought he was Josh Allen last week. That can't happen. Like, the dude came out of the game because he had to go to the concussion protocol and get checked out. He also suffered a slight hamstring strain. Like, this is something that can repeat itself. They got to get the ball out of Jackson Dart's hands a little more and allow the running backs to take over, which is crazy to think about. Like, they need more because Cam Scatterbo had 25 carries last week. But I think they're going to play from ahead. I do think that he offers more as a pass catcher than you think. Like, he did have one game where he went 8 for 61. I think it was week 2 or week 3. He's been averaging 4 targets over the last 4 weeks. Like, I think that he can offer a little bit more. So maybe they can try to get Jackson Dart to dump off a little more and try to take less hits. Like, you just got to do something to get rid of the ball more, because 6 sacks and that many hits, and he got pressured a ton where he got hit as well. So I feel good about it. I feel good about him getting in the end zone. I think that he has, top 10 to 15 potential this week. And I think that he's ranked as like 22 by most experts. So I feel good about where you're at in terms of him being an RB2 this week.
Nice. All right. So for me this week, I was actually looking at the teammate for this guy, but popped up on the injury report. Chuba Hubbard still banged up with that calf injury. Just because of my basketball fandom, I get a little bit of PTSD when we're talking about calf injuries. So my only fantasy for this week is going to be Rico Dowdle. I think he's going to have a good game. Remind people how he rushed for 1,000 yards in Dallas last year. So, I mean, talk about quality backup right there. He's definitely one of them ones. If we're looking at the Dolphins and what they've given up in the last 3 weeks to running backs, it's a great matchup for them on paper. 25.4 points allowed. That defense has been pretty leaky overall. But the thing that I'm excited about most is going to be just the opportunity for pass catching out of the backfield. Breece Hall and Isaiah Davis, they had 7 receptions last week. We saw 4 receptions out of the Buffalo game. We saw 8 receptions in the New England game. Jonathan Taylor didn't really need the receptions week 1. So I think that you're going to see that upside there. Bryce Young has struggled quite a bit this season, so I think they're going to want to get some kind of lean on the run, give him some easy passes. I think that Rico can be a top 20 play this week, partially because of the matchup, partially because the Dolphins are just kind of all over the place, and I think it's going to take some time to adjust to the post-Tyreek Hill life. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, this will all be moot if Chuba is able to go, but I think that they're going to want to play it safe with him. There's just too much correlation right now between those calf injuries turning into Achilles injuries. They've already lost Jonathan Brooks twice, so I don't think that they're in a position to risk it. And I don't think that Trevor Etienne will get meaningful snaps if he is the backup on Sunday.
Yeah, I like it. I even if Chuba plays, I feel like Daddle can still – like, the Dolphins have been giving up so much that, like, multiple running backs have been effective against them. It's just a matter of who gets the Renzo touch.
Yeah. All right. So let's tell the people where they can find our stuff. So if you enjoyed what we're doing, having fun on the show, if you enjoy Drew's miming abilities, you can find us on our personal handles at JOEFRK, at Drew Hannis. You can also find the show's Twitter account at AT412FF Show. And you can find all of our video content at Around the 412 on YouTube and Twitch. Before we shut it down for the day, Drew, any last comments for the people?
I don't got anything else. I can't believe we're already through week 5. Like, this is crazy. Like, football goes so fast, but make sure you wake up early to watch another London game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so you got the 9:30 start on Sunday. Got to be mindful of that. Once again, we had the last minute inactive with Jaden Jalen Warren.
Yeah.
And then Kenny Gainwell is a top 5 running back in fantasy. So interesting to see.
No one was awake to put him in their lineups. It's crazy.
I did it. It was awesome.
Into it.
Yeah. I had a running back like premium leagues. He got like points per carry and like other stuff. And then it was like, I can get behind this. And then he dropped like 45 or something. It's pretty baller, but good stuff. All right, man. Well, that's going to wrap things up for us this week at the Around the 412 Fantasy Football Show. If y'all have any questions throughout the rest of the week, you can find us pretty much on any platform. Send us something in the mail. Use a smoke signal, whatever you got to do to make it happen. We'll make sure we get your fantasy questions answered. An owl will be pretty dope too. But yeah, that's going to do it for us. So I'm Joe Frick. That's Drew Hannis. This is the Around the 412 Fantasy Show. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see y'all on Wednesday, 8:30 to talk about Week 6.